You must listen without bias, without judgment. These are stories that need to be told. If the client needs to rehash it, it may be due to ongoing guilt or anger.
I feel like I have a lot of responsibility for what happened to him. Because I brought this person into our lives.
These events led on a journey that eventually was so poignant that grieving is sometimes not enough.
And he thought that he deserved the beatings. He would try to cuddle up with Corbin after he did that. And, he would snuggle with him and, act like it was his fault.
In recent years, a strong correlation between animal abuse and family violence has been established. Child and animal protection professionals have recognized this link. Animal cruelty is one of the earliest and most dramatic indicators that an individual is developing a pattern of seeking power and control through the abuse of others. When animals in a home are abused or neglected, it is a warning sign that others in the household may be in danger.
I kind of feel like everything that happened so that I would learn that my actions and my choices, they impact everyone in my life.
Pet-owning women entering battered women's shelters often report that their batterer has injured, maimed, killed, or threatened the family pets for revenge or to psychologically control them. Often the violence toward the animal occurs in the presence of the women and their children. Frequently, domestic violence victims whose animals have been abused see the animal cruelty as one more step in a long history of violent behavior directed at them and their children. They may resist entering shelter as they fear leaving the pet behind will put the animal's life at risk at the hands of their abuser. Why do abusers batter animals? To demonstrate power and control over the family, to isolate the victim and the children, to enforce submission, to perpetuate an environment of fear, to prevent the victim from leaving or to coerce her into return, or to punish the victim for leaving or showing independence. To put a stop to this pattern of violence, the Humane Society Legislative Fund supports Pets and Women's Safety Pause Act, introduced to Congress in 2015 as H.R. 1258 and SB 1559. The Pause Act would give victims of domestic abuse means to escape their abusers while keeping their companion animals safe. Many victims remain in abusive households for fear of their pet's safety. The HSUS has long led the push for stronger animal cruelty laws, provides training for law officers to detect and prosecute these crimes. With South Dakota joining the fight in March of 2014, animal cruelty laws now include felony provisions in all 50 states. Some states only allow for felony charges if the perpetrator has a previous animal cruelty conviction. Given that only a fraction of animal cruelty acts are ever reported or successfully prosecuted, the HSUS is committed to supporting felony conviction in cases of egregious cruelty regardless of whether the perpetrator has a prior conviction. 46 of all 50 states, felony provisions are first offense provisions. 4 states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, and Mississippi, have laws that apply to felony charges only to subsequent offenses. A majority of anti-cruelty laws are limited to cases involving aggravated cruelty, torture, or cruelty to companion animals. In many communities, human services, animal services, and law enforcement agencies are sharing resources and expertise to address the violence. Professionals are beginning to engage in cross-training and cross-reporting through interagency partnerships. Humane societies are teaming up with domestic violence shelters to provide emergency shelters for pets of domestic violence victims. In addition, some states have strengthened their animal cruelty legislation and taken other means to address the link. These state-level actions permit earlier intervention and send a clear message that all forms of violence are taken seriously. For example, there are now felony-level penalties for animal cruelty in nearly all states. Several states require veterinarians to report suspected animal abuse and offer veterinarians who report animal cruelty immunity from civil and criminal liability. Some states require animal control officers to report suspected child abuse or neglect and receive training in recognizing and reporting child abuse and neglect. A few states permit child and adult protection workers to report suspected animal abuse or receive training in identifying and reporting animal cruelty, abuse, and neglect. Nearly half the states call for psychological counseling for individuals convicted of animal cruelty.
Look, if they would have done something when Corbin had threatened Jaspur's life, Jaspurr would still be alive.
What can law enforcement do? It is critically important for that first responders understand the connection between animal abuse and family violence. When responding to domestic violence calls, it is imperative to be alert for signs that children and/or pets may be victims of abuse. When questioning children, the children may be more willing to talk about what has happened to their pet than what has happened to them. Victims and children should be asked, do you have any pets? Has the batterer or anyone else threatened to harm your pet? Will you need help to find a safe place for your pet if you leave? Be sure to document any signs of animal abuse and report it to the appropriate agency empowered to investigate and prosecute animal cruelty. Many victims will not go forward with prosecution of their abuser. However, prosecution of animal cruelty charges can result in imprisonment and treatment of equivalent to what might result for domestic violence prosecution. What can victim advocates and domestic violence shelters do? Work with victims to ensure that they include their pet in their safety planning, including questions about any threats or injuries to pets on intake forms. Help clients prove pet ownership. Help clients retrieve pets that have been left behind. Work with legislators to ensure that pets can be included in orders of protection and educate judges about the necessity to do so. Work with local humane societies or animal control officers to establish programs for emergency housing of pets coming from homes experiencing violence. Alternatively, arrange temporary shelters for pets with veterinarians, family members, trusted friends, or local animal shelters. Form community coalitions against family violence that include humane societies, animal control agencies, veterinarians, and provide cross-training opportunities. What can victims do? Have pets vaccinated against rabies. License pets with town or county and make sure these registrations are in your name. Do not leave your pets with your abuser. Create a safety plan for your pet. Arrange for temporary shelter for your pets with a veterinarian, family member, trusted friend, or local animal shelter.
I had a dream that I have this big dome window in my bedroom, and there's a little shelf underneath. And Jaspurr had walked out and come back with another cat. It was an orange cat with a white belly, and it had some white on its arms. And he came back with his cat, and the cat circled my lap, and it sat on my lap, and they touched noses for a minute. And Jaspurr just looked at him, and like his mouth wasn't moving, but he was talking somehow. And he was like telling this cat, like, I have to go, but she needs someone to love her and take care of her. I can't be here anymore. My time is up. I have to go. And the cat just bowed its head. They touched heads one more time. And Jaspurr walked out the window. And I pushed the cat off my lap. And I ran outside and I was calling for Jaspurr. I was looking for him everywhere and I couldn't find him. He was just gone.
May I go now? Do you think the time is right? May I say goodbye to pain-filled days and endless lonely nights? I've lived my life and I've done my best. An example tried to be. So can I take that step beyond and set my spirit free? I didn't want to go at first. I fought with all my might. But something seems to draw me now to a warm and loving light. I want to go, I really do. It's difficult to stay, but I will try as best I can to give just one more day. To give you time to care for me and share your loves and fears. I know you're sad and afraid because I see your tears. I'll be not far, I promise that, and hope you'll always know that my spirit will be close to you wherever you may go. Thank you so for loving me. You know I love you too. That's why it's hard to say goodbye and end this life with you. So hold me now just one more time and let me hear you say, because you care so much for me, you'll let me go today.
Be careful who you let in your life. Like, honestly, like, there's some people out there that you'll think that are so helpful and that you'll think that they're normal and they're just going to try and get you out of a crazy situation. But you really need to be paying attention to what they're showing you and the little things that they're doing, because if you don't, things are going to happen and you might not know why. And unless you pay really close attention, it's going to come out and hit you at the ballpark. And then later on, you're just going to sit there and be like, wow, I should have seen this coming. And you're going to regret that you didn't, because you weren't paying attention, because you were so blinded by being in love and being a couple and being happy that you forgot to look at these things that are just clearly out there. And they're clearly there's something wrong, but your rose-colored glasses are on and you're not seeing it. The spelling of his name was because the first thing he did when I picked him up was purr. They use the name at the Humane Society too. I found, like, because I volunteer there,
yeah.
And it's a cat that looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
And it's a kitten right now. And they named him Jaspurr. And because I volunteer in the dog unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to them about it, and I pulled them aside, and I'm like, this cat, why is his name Jaspurr? And I'm like, why is it spelled like this? And they told me, they're like, well, there was this one girl who brought her cat in. It was an abuse situation, and we ended up having to put the cat down, but we feel like this name will get this cat adopted faster. And it helped because this cat looked exactly like that cat in a younger form.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm like, that was my cat. Like, Jaspurr was my cat, and I like this. And if you guys ever feel the need to use this name again, use it. If it makes you feel like this cat is going to find a home faster, use the name. You know, like, use it to your advantage. It's a good name. It means good energy. It came from a good cat.
One of the obstacles in recognizing chronic mistreatment in relationships is that most abusive men simply don't seem like abusers. They have many good qualities, including times of kindness, warmth, and humor, especially in the early period of a relationship. An abuser's friends may think the world of him. He may have a successful work life and have no problems with drug or alcohol. He may simply not fit anyone's image of a cruel or intimidating person. So when a woman feels her relationship is spinning out of control, it is unlikely to occur to her that her partner is an abuser. Lundy Bancroft, Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men. And God asked the feline spirit, "Are you ready to come home?" "Oh, yes, quite so," replied the precious soul. "And as a cat, you know, I am most able to decide anything for myself." "Are you coming then?" asked God. "Soon," replied the whiskered angel. "But I must come slowly, for my human friends are troubled. For you see, they need me, quite certainly." "But don't they understand," asked God, "that you'll never leave them? That your souls are intertwined for all eternity? That nothing is created or destroyed? It just is, forever and ever." "Eventually they'll understand," replied the glorious cat. "For I will whisper into their hearts that I am always with them. I just am, forever and ever."
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
You okay?
Yeah. looks just like him. I like how I can smell the paint.
That's not the paint, there's just you.
Oh my god, look at his eyes. Like, this is beyond realistic. Like, this is his face. I cannot believe how realistic this is. Like, it is. It looks like you just took the picture and, like, photocopied it onto the paper.
I promise you I didn't do that. That would have been way faster.
You are so fucking talented. Like, this is unreal.
You okay?
I'm just mind blown by this. Takes so much work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so much detail in all of this. Like, every little stroke.
Yeah, you can go as close to that as you want, or you can go as far away from the room as you want, because believe me, I've done both.
This is going in a frame. This is going in a very nice frame and it's being taken with me everywhere.
And God asked the feline spirit, "Are you ready to come home?" "Oh, yes, quite so," replied the precious soul. "And as a cat, you know, I am most able to decide anything for myself." "Are you coming then?" asked God. "Soon," replied the whiskered angel. "But I must come slowly." "For you see, they need me, quite certainly." "But don't they understand," asked God, "that you'll never leave them? That your souls are intertwined for all eternity?"
Yeah, me and Jaspurr had some time together.
I can tell. It never quite gets easier.
It does. Hurts less.
You just learn how to ignore it more. It doesn't really hurt less. Just that we get better at hiding it and pushing it down and putting other things on top of it. The actual physical, not having them there, it doesn't go. Like, I still find myself pretending some days that he'll be home when I get off work. Mm-hmm. He'll be sitting there waiting for me because there are times when I can't think of a way to get through a day without thinking that he's gonna be there. And I mean, I know lying to myself isn't gonna help me get over it. But I can't break down. Like, I can't sit there and cry at work or hate my life because he's not in it anymore.
that nothing is created or destroyed.
I really can't thank you enough for this.
It just is, forever and ever.
It's my buddy.
Yeah, it is. You get to take him home this time.
He's going in a frame right away.
Eventually they'll understand, replied the glorious cat. For I will whisper into their hearts.
Right after I posted on Snapchat.
That I am always with them. I just am. Forever and ever.